What's going on, everybody? It's a Monday. We're live. We're here. We're back once again for more MMA content, for more MMA news and results from the weekend. Are we going to get into some results? Did I watch enough fights to fill my heart and to live up to my heart's content? I don't quite think so. I was quite a busy guy this weekend. However, I did catch a little bit of the Zuffa boxing. You know what I gotta say? I gotta admit, as much as I'm not a huge boxing guy, very casual boxing fan, I did enjoy the fights. Now, I had no idea who anybody was, and I know that most of them probably don't live up to any kind of standard when it comes to the normal boxing rankings. However, they were pretty fun. Had a couple of good knockouts on the main card, had some fun back and forth battles on the prelims, a couple of mismatches. I mean, it is boxing, so what do you expect? But welcome everybody in. If you're here live watching right now, or if you're rewinding the tape and watching this thing afterwards, that's okay too. We've got something for you today. Of course, Monday, beginning of fight week. Biggest news of the weekend, or at least yesterday, was Cain Velasquez getting released from prison. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But the other news, the other notable thing this week, it's fight week. The weeks restart every single Sunday, but we're here on a Monday to talk about the big fight coming up this weekend for the UFC. That is Sean Strickland versus Anthony Hernandez. What a matchup in the middleweight division. Anthony Hernandez was supposed to be taking on Reinier de Ridder back in November. However, things got messed up. He got a bit of an injury. He's back again, and it's February. It's time to go. He's coming for that title. This guy has been rapidly ascending the rankings. I say rapidly. It's been a little bit of a slow burn, of course. The fight style, for most, not the favorite of the UFC, but we like Fluffy Hernandez. Anybody out there who knows Fluffy, you like him, you're a fan. The guy comes to bang every single time. And, of course, we cannot go on with another live stream without Productions, my friend. Productions from across, I wanted to say the pond because that just was what came to mind, if I can find my mouse. Yep, there we go. What's up? Hardcore hater is the GOAT. The GOAT is a bit much, but Productions is here, so I'm not alone. Maybe he'll stick it out for a little bit. Of course, this guy is probably a billionaire. I mean, I'm just waiting for the super chats. That's all I need at this point, but no, I'm just joking. This guy, faithful throughout. You know, my schedule, it's inconsistent. We just try to do this thing for fun. We come on here, talk some shit back and forth, bust each other's balls, talk about the fights. You know, we're just doing this because it's fun, not because we're trying to make money, not because we're trying to be famous. We're just doing the thing, okay? Humid in Miami. I thought you were moving to Los Angeles or California. What happened, Productions? You're letting me down a little bit here. Now, most people moving away from California, of course, politics involved with that, but I've heard that San Francisco, allegedly, the doom of the California side of things, maybe it's improving. I don't know. Don't really care. We're not a politics channel. It's not today. Not our thing here, okay? Anyway, we're also joined by one Sean O'Malley, a footless Sean O'Malley. Of course, his fight with Song Yadong did go his way. The win column, he got it done. However, the guy is completely footless after kicking the absolute shit out of Song Yadong. We're also joined by a backwards-headed Israel Adesanya. Of course, his fight coming up with Joe Pyfer very soon. Got a bunch of viewers in here all of a sudden. Why a vet? I mean, we need a vet if we're talking about Israel Adesanya, of course. He does need a vet. He's a big vet guy. You know, he loves his dogs. Anyway, we also got Dustin Poirier in the house. Yep, they're here. They're live. Real in the flesh. Anyway, Western Mass is here. WMC. He's shortened it just a little bit. But I know who it is. What's up, hater? Not too much. We're here to talk about the fights, talk about some news. Got to get some articles pulled up, people. We're running short on time, at least on my end. You guys got all the time in the world, but I appreciate you being here nonetheless. A lot of people picking Sean Strickland. Now, I do like Sean Strickland in the teep kicks. I can't seem to pull up these chats. There we go. A lot of people picking Sean Strickland this weekend. Let's take a pause in the action of me vet. Gary, you're speaking another language here, my friend. I welcome you in. I appreciate you being here. Thanks for that. But I don't know what you're talking about. Me vet? I mean, like I said, Israel Adesanya might be tight with the vets. He might wish that he was a vet so that he can get his hands all over those dogs. But, I mean, if you guys are ready, we'll jump right into this thing. I mean, it is Sean Strickland, Anthony Hernandez. It's fight week. It's go time. It's Monday. We're building. Paramount Plus era continues. We got a solid card here. Maybe the best top to bottom. I don't know. What do you guys think? You guys let me know. Maybe I'm forgetting. Maybe I'm just over-glamorizing this card. But we don't have too many women's fights on this card. However, we do have, I believe, is it Carly Giudice? She's somewhere on there. One of the few women that I do actually enjoy watching. She's a pretty badass fighter. She actually comes in there to hurt some women. Now, the others on the card, whatever. Anyway, but Yadier Devaye, of course, coming off the controversial win over Isaac Dolgarian back in, when was that, November? Has it been that long? October? I can't even remember at this point. It's been a long time. Of course, that story has died out quite a bit. Of course, we're going to continue to keep talking about that stuff as we go on through the days. Waiting for the updates. Of course, Ali Abdelaziz getting into some hot water this weekend as well. End of last week. The courts, they're trying to hold him in content. I mean, I don't know what's going on exactly here. Just wondering if you was a military vet. No, I'm not a military vet, and even if I was, I might not want to disclose that information. Of course, the internet out there, I'm not a shameful guy. I just, people are weird. People try to, what do they call it? Throw out your address, all your information. Don't need to do that. We're just having fun. I'm not trying to be famous here. Shout out to our military vets, though. So, Gary, if you're a vet yourself, shout out to you. If not, that's all good. Military vets. We got to love them. Keep us safe, right? Anyway. Jean Paul Labosiani versus Philip Rowe. Of course, Jean Paul coming off the Contender Series. Had a great finish over there. Phil Rowe. I love this guy's commentary. If you haven't seen CJI 2, okay, this guy is fantastic on commentary. This guy was like the roving reporter, like the Megan O'Leary type thing. That was Philip Rowe. He was back in the locker rooms. This guy is very well spoken. He's funny, and he's got a fucking personality when he talks on camera. It's phenomenal. However, as a fighter, we got some things to work on there, Philip Rowe. So, John Paul, got to be a good test here for him. It's going to be a good test at 170. Ramiz Brahimaj, I don't know how you say it. Doesn't matter. Not my language. We'll move right along. No disrespect to the other languages, but come on. This is the United States. This is America. This fight is taking place down in Houston, okay? Booz versus Puna Heli Soriano. Two guys that are kind of in that, hold on, wait a minute. This is taking place at 170. I'm about to say two guys at 185. However, Brahimaj, he's been at 170. Puna Heli Soriano recently has moved down to 170. So that making that weight cut, this guy's a slugger. He's a banger. We'll see what happens. Brahimaj, he likes to tend and travel, more in the grappling realm. That's where he likes to traverse the octagon on the floor. Puna Heli Soriano, he's more of a slanging and banging kind of guy down from, where is he? Hawaii. Yep, I'm just getting this thing together. I haven't even looked at this card. Listen, I've been off for a couple weeks. Been working hard in real life, okay? So give me a break. You guys help me out in the chat. You guys, the hardcores that are here, help me out. I'm not the only hardcore here, so you guys help me out along the way. We'll skip the women's fight because I don't really care about it. However, I did see that Jocelyn Edwards is the favorite despite losing the last fight. Something like that. I don't even care. Luis Garule versus Aiden. Is it Aiden or Alden? I can't even see this. This computer screen is too small. Of course, we're too low budget here. That's what we do here. 11-3 coming out of, I believe, was he off the Contender Series? I thought he came off the Contender Series, but maybe he jumped right in from Fury. That's correct. Alessandro Costa was his first fight in the UFC. I do remember that. Of course, if you don't remember Alessandro Costa, he's now 14-5, 30 years old. I mean, does he deserve a spot in the UFC? In my opinion, it wasn't really the best case for him coming off the Contender Series, but it's been quite a while, actually, since 2022, since he fought in the Contender Series. My God, I'm getting old here, fellas. Okay. Moving right along, I mean, it's a 125 fight. Alden Correa, I mean, he's more interesting at this point than Lewis. Sorry, Lewis, but we're going to lean Alden Correa here, at least on my end. Anyway, we're moving right along here. Alabibi Idris, can I not picture this guy? No offense. No offense out there. Okay, no, I mean full offense here. All these motherfuckers from Kazakhstan look exactly the same, okay? Almost all of them look exactly the same. And I cannot keep up with who is who at this point. But he came straight into the UFC as well. No. This was the Ultimate Fight. I can't keep up, guys. I can't keep up. You guys got to hold me accountable. You guys got to let me know. Let everybody else out there in the chat know. Okay, coming off the Contender Series, had a couple of victories there. Joseph Morales, of course, this was the upset victory. At least I thought it was, in my opinion. Fucking Christ. See what I mean? I haven't caught up on the card here. I haven't done my research, so I'm sounding like an absolute idiot out there. But no, actually, Joseph Morales, no, that's correct. He did go on to beat Matt Schnell, so, okay. Some of these names, some of these people, they blend, they move, they go all together. But we'll keep moving right along. Anyway, Idris versus Ode Osborne. Ode Osborne, bit of a journeyman in the UFC, of course, trades some wins and losses right now. Looking at his win streak, looking at his loss streak, let's see, he's 13-9. Not the best record, but he's hardly in a boring fight. I'll give him that credit, but again, 4 losses in his last 5, 6 in his last 7. It's getting tough. Might be coming down to the end of the line here, so they're looking for Alabibi Idris to get a win there, I'd expect. But Carlos Leal, Chidi Njokuani, this one's going to be a good one. Carlos Leal, of course, last time out didn't really go his way. He was looking for a big knockout, didn't come his way. Of course, the 40-year-old Muslim Salkov took him right out the gate. Chidi Njokuani, on the other hand, this guy's been making his way at 170. Can't quite make the weight, but he's trying to fight at the weight nonetheless. I mean, take that for what you will. A bit of a weight bully here now, but listen, he's depleting himself, trying to get down to the weight, trying to fight the smaller guys. Big, tough guy. Okay, big striker. Okay, Chidi Njokuani. Can you do something here? This is the kind of guy you need to take out. Carlos Leal, of course, this guy looks like he's absolutely roided out the gills since coming over from the PFL. Meanwhile, we move on to another, or at least what I thought would be a 185 fight. My goodness, these guys jumping up and down these weight classes get me all confused. Michel Pereira versus Zachary Reese. Of course, Zachary Reese, fun fighter. But listen, some of his wins as of late, even those, not proving to be all that impressive. Of course, Jackson McVeigh, Dusko Todorovic, that was a decision. How do you not finish a Dusko Todorovic? This guy gets finished in every single first-round fight that he's in. I mean, what are we doing here? Jose Medina, is he really UFC worthy? Julian Marquez, I mean, what in the world has happened since, 2020, 2021 days? I mean, this guy was on the verge of asking out Miley Cyrus. Julian Marquez was, and now look at him falling off the tracks here. Cedric Dumas was ruled a no contest, a loss to Azamat Bakoyev, who, of course, then went on to lose to Yusri Belgari. I mean, I don't even know. And he's lost to Cody Brundage. What is this guy? Who is this guy? I don't quite know, but Michel Pereira, you would expect this guy being well-trained to defeat a Zachary Reese. However, cardio issues. We've seen Zachary Reese go to a decision. Michel Pereira's gone to a decision, but it doesn't look too good for him when it does go to a decision. Anyway, Jacoby Smith versus Josiah Harrell. I do believe now, Josiah Harrell, I do believe this guy was at one point facing down the undefeated, undisputed champion, one of the killers in this world today, one of the killers of mankind, cancer. This guy was facing down cancer at one point a few years ago. Of course, he defeated that. He's back. The redemption story continues. Josiah Harrell coming straight into the UFC. He's that fucking good. He knocked the fuck out of cancer, and he's going to take on Jacoby Smith, one of the best up-and-coming prospects we have in the UFC. That's right. This guy's undefeated, 11-0, 12-0. I mean, you put this guy up at 111-0. Just defeated cancer, coming back, getting some wins, taking on Jacoby Smith. This one's going to be a fucking fun one right here. These are both these guys 11-0. Both of them. Somebody's O has got to go down there in Houston. I'm excited for that one. Sergey Spivak, Ante D'Elia. Of course, D'Elia coming off that controversial loss-win thing with Waldo Cortez Acosta, the eye pokes, whatever. That was kind of devastating on his end. Sergey Spivak, a rough and tumble, tubby, fat heavyweight. I'm taking Ante D'Elia here. Hopefully he gets the win here. Tired of seeing Sergey Spivak. I'll be honest, he can go over to the PFL. He can retire. He can do whatever the hell he wants. I don't want to see him again. Don't need to see him again. If you're a hardcore fan, I hope you agree. I hope you agree. But maybe I'm completely crazy. Anyway, you guys let me know in the comments. But Melky Costa. I mean, this guy has been on a hell of a run. Of course, this guy doesn't look like his picture anymore. Not at all. Of course, what is this called? Vitiligo, of course. Changes the skin pigmentation. You lose pigmentation in the skin. Taking on the Hawaiian Dan Ige. This is a big step up for Melky Costa. 25-7, 29 years old. Of course, the Dalmatian himself moving up the ranks. Staying active, getting finishes. This is how you do it. Okay? This is how you progress in the UFC. This is how you gain a fandom. This is how you become a fan favorite. This is how you play into the zeitgeist, the memes. This is exactly what you have to do. Fight often, fight often. That's all you need to do. If you want to add finishes to that, you're going to be a big star. Melky Costa went from being this back and forth, this and that kind of fighter, and then all of a sudden now he's on this win streak, and it's been phenomenal since losing to Steve Garcia, who we've now known, who we've come to learn, who we now know, pardon the slip of the words there. This guy, Steve Garcia, killer. Okay, Melky Costa might also be a killer. Let's see what he does against Dan Ige. Morgan Charrier, no bum. He's not some kind of stepping stone, and he absolutely went in there, flatlined him in round 1. Julian Erosa, tough out, beat him into decision. Christian Rodriguez, the prospect killer, took out that guy. Andre Fili, tough vet, been around the game for a long time, chokes him out. Shylin Nerdenbecky, okay, tough out. I mean, he's not the best, not my favorite, not my go-to guy, not the name that I need on my resume if I'm looking for this guy's going to be an all-star fighter. This guy's going to be the best in the world, okay? Nerdenbecky, not that guy. But to start a win streak, to get back in the win column, to get a finish, and not just a decision, not just a, I just need to get back in the win column here, but to take on a tough guy like that, who's got a good chin, go in there, submit him, round 3. Come on, that's how you start a win streak. You build on it every single time out. That's exactly what Melky Costa has gone on to do. Meanwhile, his opponent, Dan Ige, has been in the top 15, top 10 for years at this point. Years, 34 years of age. I mean, he's becoming that old grizzled vet, but he's not an easy out by any means. I mean, look at this loss streak, 3 in a row, comes back, gets 2 wins, puts them together, then he goes back to a loss. Win, loss, win, loss. Okay, so listen, if we're following the pattern here, as of late, he might be due for a win. However, losing to Patricio Pitbull, that one was pretty close, a little bit controversial there, but a win against Sean Woodson. I think Melky Costa is a better fundamental fighter all around overall than Sean Woodson. So if I'm picking one way or the other, I think Dan Ige can do it. He's got the power. He's got the veteran mentality. He knows what he needs to do to get a win. But if we're looking for a guy rapidly ascending up the ranks who could potentially get a finish here, I'm looking at Melky Costa here, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, again, we move on. Great top 3. Great 4 out of 5 of the last fights here. So you guys watch out for this card. Tune in Saturday night. Going to be a good one. A lot of Texans out there. A lot of South Americans on the card as well. So we're going to get some good representation, hopefully, from some of the Mexicans coming up. Maybe they're crossing the border. I don't know, but in a good way here to watch some fights in Houston. We'll see what happens. We'll see how the crowd looks. But Jeff Neal and Uros Medic. I mean, this one's going to be a banger while it lasts. I mean, Jeff Neal, is he on his last leg here? Uros Medic, I mean, this guy's been on a hell of a streak. I mean, I thought not much of this guy coming up from 155, of course. What is he going to do at 170? I thought, I don't know. I don't trust this guy to get it done. I don't trust this guy to be a dangerous finisher. I don't trust this guy's chin. And all of a sudden, this guy's looking like an absolute killer. Has taken some losses, of course, to some tough guys. But then Gilbert Urbina and then Muslim Salkov just destroying 2 guys that you would think have good chins. Muslim Salkov, of course, a little bit older, but tough striker. Knocks him out easily in round 1. Where did that come from? Where's that been? Anyway, Jeff Neal, he's a top 15 perennial contender, okay, in the welterweight division. He is not just going to roll over for you. 16-7 now his record, but 35 years of age. Does he still have it? Of course, the physical beast that he is. Can he keep that going? Of course, Carlos Prates last time out was a loss. Defeated Rafael dos Anjos. That's not easy to do. Of course, wait a minute. That was an injury. That was kind of one of those fluke, weird knee injuries, right, for RDA. My goodness, I mean, take that one away. Some of these fights, you watch for a long time. They all kind of bleed together. I completely forgot about RDA and that leg injury in round 1. So, I mean, listen, it's entirely possible he could be riding a 4-loss streak here if that fight had gone the distance. We don't know. Hard to say. So we'll see. We'll see what Jeff Neal still has in the tank. Of course, the wins against Santiago Ponzinibbio, Vicente Luque, have those aged all that well as of late? I don't know. Uros Medic, he's riding the hot streak. He's confident, and he's coming. He's got heavy hands. Jeff Neal, can he withstand the damage? Can he take more damage? Carlos Prates took him out with 1 spinning elbow. Can Uros Medic put a beat down on the guy? Or can Jeff Neal win a gritty decision? I suspect that may be what happens here. Uros Medic, of course, a little bit hit and miss sometimes when it goes into those all-action, all-out brawls. But when we're talking all-action, main event, Sean Strickland, his opponents typically dictate how entertaining the fights are going to be. And Anthony Hernandez has not had a boring fight in some time. These guys are going to meet in the middle. I suspect they're going to slug it out for a bit. Anthony Hernandez, though, can always get in on the grappling. This guy's pace, this guy's pressure, everything about him is must see. Even if you're not a grappling fan, this guy can put it on guys like you've never seen before. Wear them down, take them down, and beat them down over the course of multiple rounds. This guy is not a first round, I'm going to blitz forward and knock you out. This is not the guy who's going to grab your neck and snatch it up immediately. He has to wear you down with the pressure. And those kind of fighters are very impressive to watch work. Sean Strickland, same kind of guy, but in the striking realm more so, of course. This guy's very safe defensively, comes down, straight shots, teep kicks. We know, if you know, you know. But we know. The hardcore fans know out there, okay? If you're not a hardcore fan, welcome in. We're going to bring you up to speed. Fluffy Hernandez is a little bit weak to the body, a little bit flabby, a little bit weak to the gut. I'm not so sure what exactly makes you weak to the body. I mean, you land one punch or one kick to my stomach, I mean, I'm keeling over and I'm basically dead at that point. I'm crying and whining, saying, "Mommy, mommy, where are you?" You know, that's me. Anyway, Fluffy, we know that his weak spot is the body, and Sean Strickland does throw a lot of teep kicks, a lot of push kicks straight to that body. Doesn't quite strike or punch to that body with the upper body of his. He doesn't go upper body down to the lower body, but he takes those kicks from his lower body and digs them right into the gut of his opponents. So again, we'll take a look at the tail of the tape here. Of course, Fluffy is the moderate favorite here, according to Tapology, of course, fighting out of Mexico, but he's an American. It's two Americans, one of them representing the Mexicans. Anyway, I believe Sean Strickland could get it done. I don't know. I believe, at least my opinion, I'm taking Fluffy Hernandez. This guy's been doubted by everybody, Western Mass, and I just don't know if Sean Strickland could put enough force into those teep kicks to take advantage of the weak body of Fluffy Hernandez. However, if it happens, don't color me shocked, but I will be surprised if at this point Sean Strickland can get a win over Fluffy Hernandez, who's got everything going. This guy's a mixed martial artist. He actually mixes the martial arts, unlike many other fighters. So I predict that Fluffy Hernandez can get it done. But don't be surprised if Sean Strickland is able to just outpoint and somehow get a decision victory over Fluffy Hernandez. Really hope that doesn't happen, but 34 years of age, almost 35 is Sean Strickland. I believe his character, his shtick has run its course. Not a huge Sean Strickland fight fan, of course. His character, his personality, I think it's funny outside the cage. Sean Strickland, though, as a fighter, he's run its course. He had his run. He had his miraculous win over Israel Adesanya. Nobody thought he could do that, and yet he did it anyway. It was awesome to see. Great to watch the downfall of Israel Adesanya. I just don't know if Sean Strickland has anything left in the tank in that respect. Now, his defense always very safe, so is Fluffy going to land some decent strikes on the feet? I don't know. Sean Strickland always defensively capable, but if Fluffy can get that ground game going, if he can get those takedowns working, if he can get down Sean Strickland, whole different story. Do I think he submits him? I don't know. Sean, of course, defensive first. Even though he talks all this big shit about how he's going to kill everybody, he never seems to do that, does he? Never really seems to do that. Anyway, we take a look back, of course, when we look at KOs, submissions, decisions, a lot of decisions on the side of Sean Strickland. Not a lot of finishes, not a lot of knockouts for Hernandez, but quite a few more submissions. Of course, the percentages there you can see for yourselves. Moving right along, of course, fights taking place in Houston, Toyota Center. Big crowd, gonna be fun, gonna be awesome. Got the Mexican crowd in there, got the Americans in there on Sean Strickland's side. But again, we'll take a look back at their last couple of fights. I mean, Anthony Hernandez 15-2. This guy not too long ago didn't have very many fights under his belt. Now in the UFC, he's on a hell of a win streak. I mean, count them up, 1, 2, 3. Take a little bit of a gap, couple of canceled fights. 4, 7, 8 wins in a row. Defeated Rodolfo Vieira. Submission over the legend in the jiu-jitsu realm, Rodolfo Vieira. Kevin Holland, of course, knee to the body, followed him up there. Marcus Perez took a loss there. I mean, the early goings in the UFC for this guy were not too good, but a win over Jun Young Park, I mean, that's not too bad. Of course, on the regional scene, takes out a Mike Parsons and defeats Brendan Allen, not just once, but then a second time back in the UFC. Josh Fremd, Marc-Andre Barriault, we've seen how that has aged. Edmund Shabazian, great wins here. I mean, it's been a great win streak against tough opponents. The Michel Pereira one, it hasn't aged the best, but listen, Michel Pereira is a dangerous finisher, and if you're weak to the body like an Anthony Hernandez potentially, well, Michel Pereira, not the easiest guy to beat. Of course, this guy throws knees, elbows, everything. So you got to watch out for that guy. He defeated him with relative ease. And then, of course, Brendan Allen as well. Roman Dolidze, victory there. Of course, he was going to take on Ranier de Ritter. I suspect could have easily defeated Ranier de Ritter. considering how Renier came out in that fight against Brendan Allen. So if Brendan can beat Renier, I would suspect Anthony Hernandez can too. But Sean Strickland, he's a whole other beast. He's been in the top 5 for many, many years at this point. Anthony Hernandez, listen, he's the next big thing. He's been saying that. I've been saying it. This is the test. This is the time to prove it. Sean Strickland. He likes to call himself a killer. His fight style just does not dictate that. It just does not dictate that. I don't know what to say. You guys let me know in the comments. What do you think? Sean Strickland, Anthony Hernandez. Western Mass seems to think that Strickland gets it done. I disagree. I hold out hope that Anthony Hernandez and Sean Strickland. Come on. Come on. Let's get the words out. Let's get the words out. Anthony Hernandez, Sean Strickland. Great fight. It's going to be fun. I don't see how this one is boring. I don't see it unless Sean is just being extremely evasive this time out, looking to get another win no matter what, even though he's going to kill this guy. We'll see. We'll see. I'm looking forward to it. Hope you guys are as well. Of course, we had some controversy when Sean Strickland posted this, but come on. It's funny. It's good stuff. It's good fight buildup. Fluffy's playing into it as well, so I'm rooting for Fluffy in this one. So we'll see what happens. Okay. Let's take a timeout. Let's pull up some articles, see what's going on out there in the world of MMA. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. If you're watching after the fact, that's okay too. Like I said, we need all the input, all the views, all the participation that we can get. Alrighty. See what the latest is. See if we have any articles about Cain Velasquez. We can talk about that next, huh? We can talk about that next. Tom Aspinall, his debacle, the eye pokes, the injury, people saying it's fake. I don't know what you're looking at. I don't know what you're talking about. If you think going under the knife is fake, what more do you need to hear? What more convincing do you need? I mean, am I a fan of Tom Aspinall trying to convince everybody of this? Am I a fan of him putting out the videos? I like the transparency, but you don't need to convince anybody. Just let it happen. Let it play out. Fans are going to be fans. Stupid people are going to be stupid people. And you just got to let it play out. You just got to let it happen. Got to let the events unfold. Got to be proven right. We need, okay, Cyril Gane to face some sort of repercussions. Of course, the rumor is that he'll be taking on Alex Pereira. So maybe we'll get to that in a few minutes. But for now, we'll take a look at the Cain Velasquez situation. Of course, Cain Velasquez, former UFC heavyweight champion, former UFC legend, was sent to prison. I say former legend. He is still a current legend, even for what he did in getting sent to prison. Of course, Cain Velasquez released from prison this weekend. Former UFC champion Cain Velasquez was Rewind the tape, fellas. I'm sorry. It's been a long week. Got to get that coffee in me. Got to get that energy going because otherwise I can't get my words out properly. It was criminal that he was jailed at all. Western Mass, listen, on a fundamental human perspective, I agree. And the courts would say, listen, you cannot take the law into your own hands. You cannot fire a weapon into a crowded area. That I understand. However, we all know that we probably would have reacted the same way. No matter how calm, cool, and collected you would have wanted to be when your child is involved in such heinous crimes that were done upon his child, okay? This was kept under wraps for a long time, and then Cain Velasquez found out about it. Of course, he acted in rage and anger, as any father, as any man would and probably should do. However, the way he went about it was probably the wrong direction. Of course, this guy's a trained killer in the martial arts. Why need a gun? Why do you need a gun? Just go beat this guy up. Just go leave this guy in a back alley in a dumpster somewhere to never be found again. That's what many people would think that Cain Velasquez do. But unfortunately, he decided to take things into his own hands. And we'll keep reading. Of course, on Sunday, after spending 10 months incarcerated, the 43-year-old was released on parole. In February of 2025, Cain Velasquez was sentenced to 5 years in prison. He was credited with 1,283 days served after he pleaded no contest. This article is written extremely poorly. And I'm trying to make it through this, but I cannot. Velasquez chased and shot at a vehicle carrying Harry Goularte, who was accused of molesting Velasquez's son at daycare for months and months and months. Hundreds of interactions this guy had with this little child, okay? What the actual fuck, okay? Let's just get that done right off the top. Like, this guy is still walking around as far as I'm concerned. They're still waiting for his hearing and any kind of prosecution to come this guy's way. Yeah, the molester, yeah, that fucking guy is still out there. Basically at large. I mean, he's under house arrest, whatever's going on there. Fucking Christ, I don't even care. I don't even want to read into it. Don't care. Hopefully this guy gets 1,000,000 years in prison. Hopefully this guy gets absolutely destroyed himself while he's in prison, if he ever gets sent there. I sure hope so very soon. I could be completely rest from last. Anyone else out there watching, I have not been caught up to speed on this because I just don't care. I'm on the side of Cain Velasquez. That's what I choose to read into. We'll keep going along. Velasquez chased and shot at the vehicle again, like I said, and sustained some non-life-threatening injuries, but he did this out in public, of course, putting other people in harm's way. This was not the safe way to go about it. The safe way would to be use your skills that you have gained over the course of your lifetime and beat the absolute living shit out of this guy, beat him within an inch of his life. Listen, I don't call for harm and violence to be done upon others ever, okay? It's not something I do, but listen, when you're doing such heinous things that this guy was, this hairy motherfucker, yeah, I don't care. Let him have it. Let him have it. We're not all about that. We don't do that here. Velasquez, a two-time UFC title holder, first won the heavyweight championship by knocking out Brock Lesnar in October of 2010. He was defeated by Junior Dos Santos in his first title defense. He won the crown back in December of 2012, defeating Dos Santos in the rematch. He successfully defended the belt twice before losing to Fabricio Verdum. I believe that's spelled wrong. Of course, this article seems to be written by AI, ladies and gentlemen. My little sister was essayed by a 60-year-old creep when she was like 6 or 7. My mom didn't tell me about it until the guy was deported to England to face more charges. If I'd known, I'd be in prison. Exactly. Any man, any brother, any father would have done this exact same thing, okay? It's just that he went about it the wrong way. Use your skills, man. Use your skills. That's what we all were pleading him to do. Jeff Cain, how are you a writer, my friend? What the heck? Velasquez last fought in February of 2019, losing to Francis Ngannou via a knockout. What the fuck is this article? What the fuck is this article? No details, no nothing about it. Anyway. It's been a long time. This has been going on for years. I believe this happened back, was it 2020 or 2021 again? Listen, I'm a busy guy. I got shit going on in real life. But listen, all I know, Cain Velasquez, at the end of the day, probably did the right thing in going to attack this way. The means in which he tried to do that, a little bit off. Put other people in danger. You can't fire a gun into open traffic, okay? That's just not how we operate. But what we could do is go grab this motherfucker out of the car and beat the shit out of him right there on the floor. I'm perfectly okay with that, considering what he fucking did to a little child. A little child, like a toddler. Daily, for months. Despicable actions. But thankfully, Cain Velasquez was granted parole. I'll pull up the video for you here. Josh Thompson took to social media. Welcome home, brother. He's here. Cain Velasquez. Now listen, a lot of fighters get the claim and praise that from their other fighters and other people that have been around them. Oh, they're the nicest guy. They're this, they're that. Rumble Johnson, he received this when he sadly passed away. Tragic story, dealing with an illness. But listen, Rumble Johnson, he was fighting his demons, okay? Not the nicest guy in the world. Rest in peace. Again, I don't want to speak ill of the dead. But he wasn't some saint. Cain Velasquez is known by many and by all to be a sweetheart. Has he had his rough goings here and there? Yes. But again, this was not the wrong thing. Anybody would have done this. It's understandable. Completely understandable. And so, can you fault the guy for doing what he did and facing the consequences? Was he in such a fit of rage that he did not understand the consequences? Maybe. But maybe he didn't care about the consequences because I'm going to defend my child from what has been done to them in such a heinous form. I think many of us, anybody with common sense would say, to an extent, fuck those consequences. I'm taking care of business. But we are a country of laws. We reside in states of law. And there's a right way and a wrong way of going about it. And unfortunately, in our country, here in the United States, we do follow laws. Unfortunately, in the case of this guy who was doing these things, time seems to move very slowly. And he seems to be able to just meander about life. And Cain Velasquez gets thrown in jail for firing a weapon. But this guy doing these heinous crimes against children, he'll serve it. Justice will be done. Justice will be felt in one shape, way, or form. I would die for my sister without fucking question. If you're an older sibling as well, you understand this. Like, it's innate. I'm a fucking pussy, but there's a couple things and a couple people I would easily lay down my life for, who I would fight for, who I would do the same thing Cain Velasquez did. And you know what? I believe they wanted more than 5 years, the other side of the equation, fighting for this fucking creep, this fucking dirty piece of shit, who's still out there, who's just essentially walking about life until his time comes to go on the stand, and whoever fucking cares. I don't care. The dude can go rot in prison. They can give him the death penalty. Doesn't matter to me. He deserves it. You don't do that. You don't get away with this. Cain Velasquez, though, they're trying to book him for 20 years, 25 years. They reduced that down to 5. Now, after 1 year, has been granted parole. Take a watch. Take a listen to this. Great stuff here. The mariachi band, maybe a bit much, maybe a little bit overindulgent, but you know what? At this point, I'm all for it. It's a cause for celebration, okay? Put my stuff down. I'm going right to the family. Love it from Cain Velasquez. Great stuff here. We'll continue watching. This is another minute or so bear with me. And if you're just tuning in, you don't know what you're looking at. Cain Velasquez here in the white shirt. Of course, former UFC champion Cain Velasquez, his son, his daughter, his wife, I do believe there. And the whole mariachi band, they showed up for him. I mean, why the hell not? I mean, this is great stuff here. Great celebration here. Cain Velasquez granted parole. Very excited to see this. Happy for him that he did not have to face up to 20 or 25 years is what these motherfuckers wanted for this guy. And this other dude who fucking molested his child still hasn't had his hearing, still hasn't been prosecuted, still hasn't been sent to jail or given any kind of punishment other than house arrest? Somebody tell me if I'm wrong, but what the fuck is that shit? Despicable. Despicable shit. Anyway, we continue on. He's home. He's free. Our boy survived. He got it done. Listen, this is the biggest fucking win of his career right here. I'm getting really fucking pissed off. Oh, you know I am, Western Mass. Anyway, take it down a notch. Let that guy face justice when it comes to him. He'll get his due when it comes, whether that's in death or in life. That Harry Goularte, what the fuck his name is? I mean, just, of course. Cain Velasquez has been vindicated. His justice has come to us today. So, very happy to see this, but I'm pissed off. Hard to understand the situation, okay? Now, again, we can lay it out in the most detailed fashion. It's been years, but it's been a tough road. Was sentenced, was put in prison, jail, whatever it was. Whatever happened, served some time, a year, 2, came out, went through the whole hearing, went through the process of, okay, how long is he going to be having to go through this? How long is he going to have to be put in jail? They put him in 5 years. They reduce it down. Now we're here. Parole's been granted because if you're a fucking human, how do you not? You know there's an app you can download to see your local PED. Oh, well, I know what predators are. I don't download that for a reason. Yeah, I don't want to know, really. I mean, people are just fucking weird, dog. I mean, listen. Everybody does weird shit, okay? Everybody's a weirdo. But these kind of weirdos, there's a special place in hell, okay? There's a special place in hell. Okay. And Western Mass. There's a fine line out there, but there's also a very clear line. There's a difference between an 18-year-old who just graduated high school hanging out with a 17-year-old high school student, okay? And all these fucking people who are worried about the politics and the way of the world, if an 18-year-old's hanging out with a 17-year-old, that's just the most disgusting, vile thing you've ever seen. You lump them right in with this kind of motherfucker. No. That's not it, okay? That's not how the world works. That's not how it works. Those are two people very close in age. Totally different. Don't let retards conflate that, a 17 and an 18-year-old hanging out, with some fucking child predator, okay? Don't let that happen. That's not the same thing. It's not. Legally, whatever, fuck off. Let's have some common sense. Let's put these dirt bags away and stop getting our fucking underwear in a fucking bind because some 18-year-old and a 17-year-old hanging out. I hate seeing that shit. I hate seeing those stories. It's not the same. There's a fucking line, okay? Jesus Christ. Western Mass, I'm with you. I'm getting fired up, getting pissed off just talking about it. Let's talk about something else that'll keep me pissed the fuck off, because everything pisses me off at this point. Tom Aspinall's 108-day nightmare, the untold reality of the UFC champ's road to recovery. I really don't see an issue if people are within like 2 years after the age of 15. You're starting to develop, your bodies are changing. This is why we go through puberty. This is why we don't marry children in the United States of America. But if a 17-year-old wants to marry a 19-year-old, you want to call that the same? You want to call that guy a predator? Shut the fuck up. You're retarded. This is why these motherfuckers get to walk around in their house for 5-6 years after they just did heinous crimes to another child. We gotta move on. That's not the same. Anyway, Tom Aspinall also dealing with a heinous foul, not a heinous crime, but a heinous foul committed by Cyril Gane. Now, if you don't like Tom Aspinall because you were thought to believe that this guy was going to knock out Cyril Gane in the first round, you thought, oh, this guy's going to be the killer of Jon Jones, and I'm a Jon Jones fan, that's fine. You don't have to like the guy. But when Cyril Gane dug his fingers into the eyes of Tom Aspinall and essentially rattled this guy's brain. Your eyes are a physical representation on the outside of your body of your brain. He essentially rattled and raked his fingers and grabbed all up inside Tom Aspinall's brain, in a sense, severely damaging the eyes of Tom Aspinall. Shout out to Pete C. Carroll for writing this article, But Manchester, England, we set the stage here. Heads whip around, doing double takes as Tom Aspinall strides through the halls at the Optigra Eye Hospital, where he's presented himself on a Tuesday morning in early February for double eye surgery. Not just one, but two. The reigning UFC heavyweight champion rode shotgun to the destination. It's a familiar route at this stage as he's become more reliant on others for methods of transportation. Anyone sitting up front knows to head for the back seats once Tom Aspinall joins the carpool. It doesn't need to be said. two black luxury vehicles in his driveway have been gathering dust for 180 days and counting. Of course, we now know this guy can't even fucking drive at this point. Of course, we've now seen video of him doing some like little keepy-uppy on the soccer ball. Maybe not the best look, Tom. Let's stop filming anything and everything, and let's put out good content, very transparent content, because that's what we need at this point. We need to know what's going on. The reigning UFC heavyweight champion, of course, rode shotgun. We just spoke about that. They stopped for coffee on the way. He ordered a hazelnut cortado and wears a green woolen champion sweatshirt to combat this winter chill on a typically wet day in the Northwest. It's nice, says the champ, of the loose-fitting garment, but it's not as warm as it looks. He also wears a pair of eyeglasses, the prescription for which has changed dramatically, not just once. And this is Tom Aspinall's third new pair of glasses. Of course, the eyes still trying to recover, still trying to heal. Of course, some of the surgery, some of the stuff they've been putting in his eyes, the steroids, blah, 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 blah. Today's visit to the Manchester facility marks the most significant moment on his road to recovery since Aspinall's inaugural undisputed title defense was cut short when challenger Ciryl Gane's fingers went knuckle deep, both of them, into his eye sockets this past November. Ahead of that fight, UFC 321 was expected by many to be the coronation for the explosive Briton. Ever since a chorus of skepticism has followed him, of course, the years that we tried to get the John Jones fight together, a quick look at the comments under Tom Aspinall's social media page reveals an army of faceless naysayers who continue to doubt the severity of his situation. Now, Western Mass, I don't know where you lie, personally. You might be the only guy out here watching. There might be others watching this after the fact, but Western Mass, I'm going to lean into him a little bit here, but because I feel like he's a guy of common sense. But anybody watching this after the fact as well, just because there's not a reddening of the eye in the immediate aftermath of the eye poke does not mean there was not damage done. I'm sure many of you have been scratched or cut on the arm, a superficial injury. I'm sure many of you have also received a blow to the leg or the arm and received a bruise a couple hours later. That bruise does not instantly appear there. Tom Aspinall's eyes were punctured in a deep, invasive manner. It wasn't a glancing shot. It was deep, a grab of the eyeballs. Okay? Didn't really scratch him in that way. Maybe it did scratch. I mean, you can't even see corneal abrasions. You cannot actually see them with the naked eye. Shocker, okay? Do your fucking research. Stop being a retard online. Oh, I don't see any damage, so therefore there is none. People break their orbitals all the time, and you don't know until days later. Paddy Pimblett, after the fight with Justin Gaethje, was not as swollen as he was 3 days after the fight. Can you motherfuckers comprehend that injuries... I don't know. Why do they call it internal bleeding? Hey, he's not bleeding on the outside, so he's fine. What? Like, are you just that stupid? I guess so. Ahead of the fight night, we already read this, he knew he couldn't win that fight. They should strip him. He was looking for a way out, all his naysayers would say. The UFC CEO Dana White made comments that suggested a similar position. Now, he just kind of took that middle of the line, like, I don't know, he could have continued. I mean, Dana's going to be Dana. Dana did not support his guy who was fucking fouled by Ciryl Gane. It was anticipated that the Gane fight would change Aspinall's life, but not in the way that it has. Of course, this has not been a positive changing of the life of Tom Aspinall. Nearly 4 months later, the champ still can't track moving targets. His eye is hurt. If he sends too many texts, he gets vertigo. If he changes direction, he misses people's hands when he tries to shake them. He can no longer do the thing that has given him an identity since he was a child, and that is fighting. Andrei Arlovski broke the fuck out of his hand in his bare knuckle fight and kept punching like an absolute demon. Dude, absolutely crazy, right? But listen, the eyes are the eyes. The eyes are a much more delicate system. They are a much more delicate organ in our bodies. Your hands are your hands. And the adrenaline coursing through you, you can fight through that shit. But the eyes, if you can't see, you can't see. If I got a broken hand, I can still swing it, okay? I can't see if my vision has gone completely dark. You know what I mean? There's a difference. In the pre-op era, it takes a nurse the guts of 10 minutes to talk him through a shopping bag full of post-care treatments he'll have to use in the aftermath of today's sessions, including a healthy dose of 32 eye drops a day. Aspinall says he's not going to remember all this. Of course, he's going under the knife. Blah, 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 blah. We'll get through the details here. This is going to hurt quite a bit for the next few days. So he's going into the operating room, getting the procedure done, and then recovering from that point on. Point being is damage isn't always apparent, right? Would you fucking know that Andrei Arlovski broke his hand in that fight? I sure as hell didn't. He was throwing the same with both hands. Ben Rothwell's big motherfucker. He's swinging sledgehammers at you. I would not be worried about a broken finger or a broken wrist bone when my knuckles are already hurting as is, beating into another man's skull. Totally different. But after the fact, after the adrenaline, after you calm down, after the battle has seceded, I don't know what the right word is there. You understand, oh shit, man, my hand's fucked up. Have you never been hurt and not realized it until a few moments later? I've had some massive cuts open up on my hands, and I don't even realize it till like 2 or 3 minutes later, and all of a sudden there's blood everywhere, and I look at it, and then it hurts, right? Your brain isn't really realizing what's going on. Your brain is pushing it out to the side, trying to alleviate the pain in other ways. I didn't even know until the post-fight speech. I didn't either. No fucking way. What we need to know is that the optical numbers are stable. Of course, Tom Aspinall still can't train the right way. He still can't hit pads, this, that, and the other. The vision's all wonky, all weird. Obviously, Tom had quite a serious injury. It was a significant eye poke that led to different issues. One of those issues, the doctor says, is vision change. He has double vision on one side that's so bad it makes him feel sick when he attempts footwork drills. So looking down, looking at your feet, moving your feet, getting dizzy, that vertigo, of course, like we spoke about as well. He also has visual field defects. You know how sometimes you'll see something move out of the corner of your eye? Aspinall can't do that. It's too blurry. He's also got black spots as well. Right now I've got a black spot in my eye. It's there. Constantly reveals, pointing at the area in which the ominous intruder dwells. Eager to get back to his fighting best as soon as possible. But really, this is affecting his real life as well. Though life outside of fighting is what he's concerned about at this point. When he returned to the UFC competition following his knee surgery in 2023, Aspinall was open about the mental toll his exodus from the sport took on him. Unfortunately, he discovered that depleted vision is far more debilitating experience. Of course, the knee is annoying when you're trying to move, but when you sit down, it's completely fine. With the eye, as long as I'm awake, it's constantly there reminding you of the situation you're in, waiting to recover time and time again, day in, day out, hour in, hour out. There are other factors that have nothing to do with the sport too. Things have been tough as a husband and a father of 3, one of whom is autistic. The sudden change of the past 4 months is far from ideal. His wife has more on her plate because of it. He can't run errands, he can't pick up the boys from school, and he can't drop them off in the morning. Evening activities, they have those too. What about being dropped off for playdates at friends' houses? You guessed it, they cannot rely on him for that either. At times, the baddest man on the planet feels like his family's 4th child. You read all that, you listen to all that. It's not just the fighting. And a lot of the times we focus on these guys as athletes, as fighters. Andrei Arlovski, legend. Tom Aspinall, fucking legend. Don't let them tell you otherwise. Tom Aspinall is a fucking badass. He's a fucking legend. This guy, prior to this, was on a fucking trajectory, unlike any other we had seen in the heavyweight division. This guy was looking like he was going to run through everybody. Ciryl Gane's a crafty striker, but he's also a fucking cheater, okay? He's also a fucking cheater. Every single fight. Imagine Ciryl Gane getting yet another title shot. And they're going to do it. I almost guarantee it. It's going to be Alex Pereira versus Ciryl Gane. I would not be shocked if that happens. Andrei Arlovski would mess Gane up today. In bare knuckle, the French pussy, Ciryl Gane, listen, he's an athletic heavyweight. He's in shape. I'll give him his credit there. But beyond that, there's not much to say on the guy. There's not much. He's a well-trained athlete. But look, check this shit out. And of course, it'll get flagged, but maybe we can just skim through it. Every time Ciryl Gane cheated in the UFC, We'll skim through it. But here he is against Tai Tuivasa. Gets punched, gets knocked down. Grabs the fence to keep himself up. Here he is against John Jones. I mean, this is like 5 or 6 seconds into the fight. Immediately nut shot. Now, I do believe this one was probably unintentional. It's probably going to the body. John kind of dipped and moves his hips out of the way in a weird way, but there's so many, bro. There's so many. Western Mass. He likes the channel. He likes the channel. Appreciate this content. I mean, who doesn't want to participate in this? It isn't just me. Western Mass, you're adding a lot to the conversation as well. So when everybody's watching this after the fact, and not in real time, we don't have a lot of viewers here right now, but that's okay. Maybe somebody will watch this after the fact. We're just breaking this down. We're just using our common sense. We're talking both sides of the aisle. We're getting perspectives from both sides. Tom Aspinall, you call him a pussy all you want for not wanting to continue. You can say that for a couple weeks. Fair play. Whatever. If you want to say that, you can. There's been people that have gotten eye poked and continued on their fights. But Ciryl Gane's eye poke over on Tom Aspinall, digging into the eyes, turning his fingers within the eye sockets, pressuring. Your eyeballs, they're just little sacks of meat, essentially. I mean, I don't even know what they're made of. It's just brain matter. And he's just squishing it in his hand? Come on. I believe as well that Tom has been validated. I think this is it. Now, people are also saying, fake injury, fake surgery. What in the fuck, man? What are we doing? Just look at what Ciryl Gane's doing. This guy's facing no consequences. No repercussions for this guy. None. We're just moving on. Oh, Tom's faking it. Tom's faking it. He's hired a whole crew of fake surgeons. You think that guy has enough money to pay all those people? Hell no. No. Wouldn't do that. Sergey Pavlovich. Clubbing shot to the back of the head in the heat of the action. Maybe you brush it off like it is what it is. But then there goes another one. There's the second shot, specifically framing off the top of the head, or the side of the head, excuse me, and leaning over with a hammer fist right to the back of the head. Like, just no regrets, just whatever. If I land it, I land it. I'll brush it off. I'll pretend like I don't know what's going on, but come on. That second shot is the one. The first shot, the second, and then this. What are we doing? Now, I'm not a big fan of Sergey Spivak. I do fancy myself a Gane enjoyer at times, just because, again, he's athletic, he moves well, he's a good striker. It's not like they're rolling around on the ground. It's not like Sergey Spivak is spinning in circles and you're trying to hit a moving target. You're framing off his goddamn head and you're beaming him in the back of the head. Are you kidding me? He's cheated in every fight, even Jones. I believe he threw that shit. Now, again, like I said, John moves the hips a little bit, but listen, you want to get things going in a positive manner? John Jones, one of the best fighters of all time. Now, is he at this point? I don't think so. But to set the stage for, hey, this is how this fight's going to go, John. This isn't easy. Coming up to heavyweight, okay? Why not? Why not do it? I would. If you're a dirty fighter, if you're a moralist fighter, why not? All right, now the JDS one, questionable. Questionable in my opinion. It definitely landed behind the ear, but just barely. You know? Just barely. That's a tough one to call for me. But I also think, like, the way that it landed wasn't too bad. But look at where his eyes are, man. Like, he's just looking like, fuck it, man. I'll throw it in the back of his head. I don't give a shit. I think he got lucky where it landed. I think he did. Against Tai Tuivasa again. I mean, it's just like that shit. It's like the glancing where there's moving and you hit him in the back of the head, heat of the moment, totally different, but it's this shit, man. It's the Ty's got his head covered, the back of the neck is completely exposed, and he just fucking lands a fucking hammer fist from hell right on the back of his head, man. What are we doing? You're some good striker? You're either a fucking cheater or you're retarded and have no control of your weapons. It's one of two options. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. He did pop him. And then just, it is what it is. Don't worry, there's more. Oh, the intentional eye pokes. Now again, is he trying to get in the eyes? And again, I'm not a fan of it. It's breaking the fucking rules if you have your hands extended in any way. It is breaking the fucking rules of MMA if you have your hands extended at any point. This fucker is not judging distance. I understand judging distance with your hands out. I get it. It's against the rules, though. I understand it, but it's against the rules. Why the fuck is he putting his hand out and not posting against the face of Volkov? No, if you're posting, you want that open palm and you're going to direct it right onto his face, maybe even get a hold of his face, kind of like what he did against Tom Aspinall. But this shit with Volkov, where it's like, I'm throwing a punch. Oh, no, psych. I'm going to point my fingers right into your fucking face. It's really hard to poke somebody in the eyes. Moving target. But come on, dog. What are we doing? The robbery and the rematch. Now, some people might go one way or the other. I do think that Volkov won the fight based on damage, okay? Based on control, based on damage, ground and pound. I mean, come on. He won. And then this one. Here we go. The Mac Daddy of them all. We need Pavlovich to get back to what he does. Yes, I wish Pavlovich wasn't such a pussy, but I mean, he got knocked out and then kind of turned into a little bit of a weasel, right? Come on, Pavlovich. Bring it back. Reel it back in. Let's get it going. Anyway, this is the worst one. Of course, this is the Tom Aspinall one. Again, you fucking idiots out there, people out there that really believe this shit's fake and really believe nothing happened. What the fuck? Do you want me to poke you in the eye? Have you ever been poked in the eye? I got poked in the eye by a brown paper bag, and I couldn't open my eyes for 20 minutes. Couldn't open my eye for 20 minutes. And I poked myself in the eye with a brown paper bag made of paper. Paper. And I couldn't open my eye for 20 minutes. Not only is he pressing upon the eyes, but digging his fingers. Look at Tom's left eye. Look at the one up top. Look at this one. This one is not even as bad visually for us. Oh, I mean, he's got him in there. And then digging his fingers down. What the actual fuck, dude? Look at this one. Look at how deep he is. And he's not just going in and out, just a quick little pressure. Boom, bang. No. We're going to dig and, feel around in the eye socket and get our fingers dirty. What the fuck, man? These aren't contact lenses. But yeah. Cyril Gane. Alex Pereira. UFC heavyweight title. Would not be surprised if it happens. Would not be shocked if it happens. That's the rumor. You know what? Fuck it. I hope it happens so that Alex Pereira just knocks the fucking shit out of Cyril Gane. Just puts that guy through the fucking floor. You want to poke everybody's eyes like that? Eat shit. Eat shit, man. You want to be a cheater? We have people every day questioning the validity of this sport. And Cyril Gane's going to go out there and fight like that? We got guys like John Jones still out there? Get the fuck out of here, man. MMA, UFC, it's not a real sport. It's a sham. Because guys like that get away with that every single time they fight. Every time. Every time. Has Pavlovich fought Gane? I don't think so. Have they fought? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Now, if you're asking me, Pavlovich, back in the win column, win over Waldo Cortez Acosta, I say run him and Cyril Gane. That would be my pick. That would be my choice. Anyway, a little bit of positive news to leave you today, and for anybody watching this after the fact. Zabit Magomed Sharapov returning to action, but not in MMA. Of course, the Russian, predominantly striker, is coming back to grapple. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. ACBJJ. They're signing Zabit. He's going to be competing. Abraham Lincoln himself. He is back. I wish it was in the UFC. Fun fighter. I don't know if he would ever become a champion, but he did leave MMA quite a few years ago, and now he's back. But yeah, that'll do it for me. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Western Mass. Thank you, Western Mass, for tuning in. Flapping gums a little bit here on a Monday morning. Getting things going, getting things started. Maybe we'll have some more time for this thing, but listen, we got to pump those viewers up. We got to pump those numbers up before we can dedicate too much time to this. But it's always good to have a good chat. Always fun to have a good chat. But yeah, Cain Velasquez, he's free. Zabit returning to action in Jiu-Jitsu. And that'll do it for me. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for everybody who tuned in, everybody who dropped a comment down there. Productions, Western Mass, I know you guys were more active than others, but anybody else watching this after the fact, I appreciate you as well. Anyway, that'll do it for me. On a Monday, getting things kicked off for Anthony Hernandez, Sean Strickland Fight Week. That'll do it. That's the UFC this weekend. We got other MMA. We got some smaller promotions. Fury also taking place in Houston. We've got other promotions, smaller promotions as well. We'll be talking about those as the week goes on. But until then, I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Have a good day. I'll see you guys next fucking time. In the words of the great Conor McGregor, next fucking time. Anyway, that'll do it for me. You guys have a good one.